Good day, Davao.
Good day, Mindanao.
And good day, Filipinas. Have you ever been stuck in traffic for what feels like forever? Waiting endlessly under the scorching heat just to squeeze into an overcrowded jeepney? If this sounds familiar, well, you are not alone. Public transportation remains one of the biggest challenges in our daily lives.
Whether you're a student rushing to class, a worker trying to clock in on time, commuting in Mindanao is more than just an inconvenience. It's an everyday problem. We hear complaints all the time, yet here we are, still facing the same old problems. But why does this issue remain unsolved? And more importantly, what can we do about it?
Imagine this. You wake up extra early just to catch a ride. But when you get to the waiting area, the line is already too long, and the sun is already blazing hot. You wait and wait, but every passing jeepney is either full or refuses to stop. Minutes turn into half an hour, and then an hour, and before you know it, you're late again.
And let's talk about the heat. Standing for what feels like forever under the scorching sun, or getting drenched in the rain while waiting for a ride, it's something commuters endure every single day. And when you finally get a ride, it's overcrowded, or uncomfortable, and even sometimes unsafe.
And there's the fare. We know that fuel prices are increasing, but sudden fare hikes make it even harder, especially for students and workers on a tight budget. One day, the fare is 10 pesos, and the next day, it's 15. And if you're unlucky enough to commute late at night, some drivers might even charge you extra. Is that fair?
The worst part, we all experience this almost every single day. Yet the system remains broken. If commuting is supposed to help people to get to their destination efficiently and affordably, then why does it feel like a daily battle instead?
That is exactly what we'll be discussing in today's episode. We'll dive deep into the realities of commuting in Mindanao, shedding light on the struggles, sharing personal stories, and exploring different possible solutions for a better, more sustainable, more efficient transportation system.
This discussion is important because public transportation plays a key role in achieving Sustainable Development Goal 11 or SDG 11, which focuses on making cities and communities more sustainable. A well planned public transportation system isn't just about convenience, it's about economic growth, environmental sustainability, and improving overall quality of life.
Welcome to Atras-Abante, the daily commuter struggle in Mindanao.
To help us delve deeper into this topic, we've invited three students who will share their personal experiences, frustrations, and ideas for improving the system. Guests, please introduce yourselves.
Hello, I am Aliyah Rain Hatalio Binaohan.
I am Chloe Barayuga.
And I am Led Ethan Matthew M. Linasa.
Thank you, guests. Now, before we move on, let me ask you guys a few questions. Now, first, how often do you commute?
Every
I
day.
commute every single day.
Now, how far do you usually commute?
Mm, I usually commute from my house going to school and school going to my house.
For me, usually from Buhangin to Bangkal, it usually takes 2 rides.
For me, I commute for 5 minutes, but from my house to school, it costs 10 pesos, whereas um, from school to my house, it costs 20 pesos.
And what kind of public utility vehicles do you often take? Do you guys take on jeepneys, taxis?
Oh, I take the jeepney because it's a lot cheaper than the taxi and it's really accessible and helpful for the students.
Same with Aliyah, I also take the jeepney since there's a lot more jeepneys than tricycles.
Public transportation is a vital part of any community. It keeps things moving, connect people, and provide opportunities for work and education. But here in Mindanao, many face daily struggles due to the inefficient transportation systems. Now, let us hear it from you guys. What have your personal experiences been with this issue?
Well, As a student, mornings are always stressful. I have to wake up extra early just to secure a ride. I often deal with long waiting lines, late waiting times, overcrowded jeepneys, and inconsistent schedules. Sometimes I even have to take multiple rides just to reach my destination, which adds to my expenses as it costs more than it should.
That's so true. The lack of organized transport routes makes everything worse. Since there's no clear system, the waiting time is unpredictable, and sometimes you have to compete for a ride. And don't even get me started on the condition of some vehicles. They're unsafe, uncomfortable, and in need of maintenance.
Yes, and the worst part is, even when you finally get a ride, you're often packed in like sardines. There's barely enough space to breathe, and yet the drivers still keep taking in passengers. It's really uncomfortable, and honestly, it's already unsafe.
Well, that's something we don't talk about enough. The safety risks. Overcrowding can be really dangerous, especially in case of accidents. Have you experienced a moment where you felt unsafe while commuting?
Oh, definitely. I once rode a jeepney where the brakes weren't working properly. The driver had to stop the vehicle using the handbrake, and it was terrifying. We were all just holding onto the railings, hoping we wouldn't crash into another car. It made me wonder, why are there still so many poorly maintained public vehicles on the road?
And that brings up another point, lack of regulation and maintenance. Many public transport vehicles are old and not properly maintained, putting passengers at risk, and yet fare prices keep increasing. What are your thoughts on the financial burden this places on commuters?
It's really tough, especially for students. If I have a limited budget for a day, I have to choose between eating a proper meal or saving money for the ride home. Some days I just skip breakfast or lunch because I need fare to get back home safely.
Exactly. Public transportation should be affordable, but the rising costs makes it inaccessible for many. The lack of a standardized fare system also means some drivers charge higher rates for some commuters.
That's true. And let's not forget about how unreliable the system is. There are days when you wait for more than an hour just to get a ride. Then on other days, there are too many vehicles on the road, causing congestion. Well, what's up with that?
I think it's because there's no proper transport planning. Other countries have bus stops, schedules, and organized routes. Here, it's unpredictable. You never really know how long your commute will take. And that's why so many people end up late for school and work.
And these problems aren't just minor inconveniences, they have real consequences and long term effects, right?
Exactly. This isn't just a student problem, it affects basically everyone. Poor transportation leads to delays, loss of productivity, and even economic setbacks. It's not just about missing the first class in the morning, it's about wasted time, wasted energy, and wasted opportunities.
Well, that's right, and I agree. Let's dig deeper. Why do you think this issue is really relevant today?
For me, I think it's very relevant because it affects everyone. Poor transportation leads to delays, productivity loss, and even economic setbacks. As mentioned earlier, we often have to take multiple rides just to reach our destination. This is a clear example of delays. As a single mode of transportation isn't enough to get us where we need to go, as a result, we sometimes arrive late and end up spending more time and money just to reach to our destination.
Exactly. The fare increases, especially with rising fuel costs. It makes it even harder. We end up spending a big chunk of our allowance just to commute, and sometimes we're left with no choice but to walk long distances just to save money, especially when you have to take multiple rides due to inefficient transport networks.
Absolutely. We end up spending a huge chunk of our allowance just to get to school, and sometimes we're forced to walk long distances just to save money.
That's why this issue is bigger than just inconvenience of long lines or packed jeepneys. Due to these daily inconveniences, this issue has greatly affected students' lives, impacting their education, finances, and overall well being. From unsafe routes, financial burdens, and long waiting times, commuting has become a daily struggle for many students.
Well, now that we've identified the problems, let's talk about the possible solutions. If we had the power to improve or adjust this issue of the inefficient public transportation systems, what can we as individuals and as a community do to help address this issue?
Well, as individuals and as a community, we can advocate for better public transportation policies by joining community discussions or signing petitions for improved infrastructure. We need to make our voices heard.
Right. As students within the Ateneo community, we are often taught to be the first step in making change. In our core subject, MIL or Media Information Literacy, we were given the chance to create our own advocacy and advocate for the betterment of our community using online media. And with that, we decided to advocate for better public transportation systems. We created posters and even a PSA or a public service announcement video just to highlight and share the problems in relation to our UNSDG 11.
Right? Furthermore, we can also use social media to raise awareness and call for action. By sharing our experiences online and engaging with policymakers, we can push for a better public transportation.
Wow, what an experience! Especially in our growing digital society, using or utilizing social media platforms to spread awareness and advocating for real world problems is definitely a smart choice.
I agree, and well, I think another way to solve issue is by supporting local initiatives that promote sustainable transportation, such as using eco friendly transportation like biking to school, walking for shorter distances, or even organizing carpool systems. Additionally, small changes in our daily commutes can contribute to long term improvements.
Great points, guys. But ultimately, the government plays a key role in these situations. Don't we all agree?
Yes, I also believe that they should prioritize investing in public transport systems. Why? Because insufficient transportation affects our daily lives. You know, students like us shouldn't worry about commuting struggles when our main focus should be on our education, right?
That's right. After a long day at school, we still have to worry about our safety and transportation. We go home late and don't have enough time to study or do anything else because we're exhausted already from the commute.
Another issue is the inconsistency in fare prices. Some public transportation options charge significantly different fares, even for some routes. A standardized fare system should be implemented to ensure fairness and affordability for commuters. It would not only benefit students but also ensure that drivers receive fair and reasonable wages.
Exactly. Insufficient public transportation doesn't just waste our time or money, it also affects our productivity and well being as students. Since the government plays a key role, they should invest in more sustainable transport system. With proper implementation, this wouldn't only benefit students, but everyone. It would give us more time to rest, study, and focus on other important aspects of our lives.
Yes, I would also like to add more. The most common problem with public transportation is the long waiting time, especially during peak hours, such as early mornings when people are heading to work, or school and evenings when they are returning home. Jeepneys and tricycles often wait until they are full before departing, and it causes delays for passengers.
They should establish a schedule wherein which places are available to ensure efficiency. Commuters should have the option to check for available rides from home, especially if they are running late. This would be particularly helpful for students and workers who often struggle with long waiting times, since public transportation only leaves when they're full. If the government creates a more organized transport system with fixed schedules, it would improve efficiency, accessibility, and overall convenience.
During those peak hours, drivers tend to speed up to accommodate the high demand, which can be dangerous. Combined with unstable routes, poorly maintained vehicle, and unstable road condition, this increases the risk of accident and poses a serious hazard to commuters.
Many vehicles are also poorly maintained and outdated, increasing the risk of unexpected breakdowns while on the road. This not only causes inconvenience for passengers, but also contributes to traffic congestion and potential accidents. Investing in modern and well maintained public transportation would help address these issues to ensure safer, more reliable, and a more efficient travel for everyone.
Well said. Given these challenges, what do you guys think the government should implement to ensure a sustainable public transportation system, especially in Mindanao?
Based on my observation, in this modern era, the government should invest in more eco-friendly transportation options. As mentioned earlier, biking to schools, walking shorter distances, or even organizing a carpool system are some solutions. They should also enforce strict road regulations, including vehicle maintenance and road safety measures to prevent accidents. Expanding transportation infrastructure, such as roads and traffic management systems, will help provide growing demand for transportation. Additionally, securing sufficient funding can help ensure affordability for all commuters.
Those are great answers, Led. It's inspiring to hear such well thought ideas coming from the younger generation, us. The fact that students like us or you guys are already aware of these issues and actively thinking of solutions, it proves just how much this problem impacts our daily lives. With these insights, it's clear that improving the public transportation should be a priority for the government. It's not just for convenience, but for the overall well being of the community. Today's discussion has been eye opening. Public transportation issues in Mindanao aren't just about inconvenience, they affect education, safety, economy, and daily life.
It's clear that it's clear that addressing public transportation issues isn't just about making travel easier. It's about making cities and communities more sustainable and livable.
We hope this discussion sparks awareness and encourages action towards a more efficient, accessible, and modernized transportation systems here in Mindanao and across the Philippines.
So before we end, do our guests have any more insights or anything they want to share?
Well, for me, this podcast, it has been really eye-opening, and it has really a big change for us as the newer generations. How about you, Lad and Chloe?
No comment.
Advocating for a better public transportation system starts with individual action, using transit, speaking up for improvements, and supporting policies that prioritize accessibility and sustainability. When communities demand better options, cities are more likely to invest in efficient, affordable, and eco-friendly transportation solutions.
And there we have it. The journey to change doesn't start tomorrow, it starts today, with conversations like this.
Thank you for joining us in this important discussion. Let's keep pushing for a future where commuting is safer, faster, and more sustainable for all.
Don't forget to share this podcast, and let's keep making better choices.
Let's continue working towards a future where commuting is safer, faster, and more sustainable for everyone. This has been
Atras-Abante. Bye!
Bye!
Bye!